Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and we decided to go ahead and film another one of our workouts today with Brittany and I, and as usual, a lot of focus on overhead work. Today I chose not to deadlift. I decided again to do, like you guys have seen me do in some of these videos, I do a little more overhead pressing volume and a little more rowing on days I don't feel like deadlifting, but truth be told, I'm cleaning up a weight, push pressing it, and I'm doing pen leg rows. It's still a full body workout. Every muscle in my body's getting worked. You could argue some of them aren't getting worked truly effectively, but they're still getting stimulation, and that's the main thing. So that was my warm-up, and here's Brittany doing her deadlift warm-up. And you know, I've talked to her a little bit about the hyperextending at the top, and some of the people are like, oh, she's hyperextending too much, and she was for a little bit, and that's also because I've trained her to lock all the way out at the top, and she's still, you know, not an advanced lifter, and so she does tend to hyperextend a little bit at the top sometimes, more than she needs to. But if she ever wants to do a powerlifting meet, that's not a bad habit to get into, because a lot of people get red lighted at meets, and I've red lighted people at meets for not locking out at the top, and a lot of people consider to be a lockout isn't. And I see a lot of that online on YouTube of people who think that they're locking out on their deadlifts, and they're really not. And I see a lot of show off videos of people doing that, and you know, from a competitive perspective, it wouldn't be considered a lockout. Okay, and that's the context by which stuff needs to be judged if you're going to compare different people. If you want to know if one person is truly stronger than not on a plane of motion or an exercise, they have to do the same exercise with the same rules. That means they have to actually lock it out, and the rules are universal in the deadlift on the lockout. Your shoulders have to come back. Your shoulders have to come back behind your hips. And if your shoulders do not pass your hips, it's not a lockout. It's not the same as someone else who locked it out, and comparing your strength. Just something that people need to keep in mind there. And it does matter. And also it affects the way that you decelerate at the top. It does affect strength and speed strength and things. So just a minor little caveat there. Today, you know, I felt decent on my push presses, and so I decided to do slightly higher rep, because I'm working mostly in the 5 to 8 rep range right now on some strict presses after these 3 sets of push presses. And they didn't go as well as I had wanted. Like, I really thought it was going to be easier. But, you know, again, I got that extra fatigue in my shoulders, triceps, upper chest. And that's kind of the point. You know, some people need to understand that. They were like, well, I don't think you do that much volume on it. Well, you guys see me come in and do 3 sets of 5, and then oftentimes a secondary exercise. And you guys need to keep in mind, it's not like I'm only overhead pressing once or twice a week. I overhead press as often as 4 times a week, minimum of 3 sets. All right, in the 5 to 8 rep range. So when you really look at that, I'm doing at least 12 sets of overhead pressing every week for, again, 5 to 8 reps. So yeah, back to Brittany's deadlifting here. I wanted her neck maybe a little more neutral than we might see there. But again, you guys need to understand, Brittany is detrained a bit. We're rebuilding her strength that she's lost in the last few months. And she's having to work on technique. She's not an advanced lifter. Her form still needs some work on certain exercises, and that's okay. You get there through practice and coaching and working on different mental cues. And so here I am again. I think this is my last set of push presses. And, you know, they felt relatively heavy today, but again, the scale is going down. I'm down 20 pounds right now, and I'm still losing weight. So my lifts are going to feel a little harder. They're going to feel a little heavier. That's normal when you lose body weight. The beauty of it is, though, is because I seem to be losing exclusively body fat. I don't seem to be dropping water weight. I don't seem to be dropping muscle tissue. My lifts are still good. Performance is good. Once I'm back to eventually maintenance type calories and the scale stabilizes and I sit at the same body weight for 3 or 4 weeks, I'll probably regain any strength or performance I lose, and my strength should probably start going back up. And again, that's the beauty of it. We had a little snafu though with Brittany's bench pressing today, which we'll get to in a minute after this warm-up. I think her second work set, something she's still learning. She's still struggling with getting tight at the bottom. As you guys can see there, I'm trying to teach her to spread the bar more. You guys notice the bar moves a little at the bottom. Obviously, if she was in a competition, powerlifting meet, that sort of stuff will get you red lighted. All right, that's not allowed. That bar has to stay even on the left or right on the way all the way down and all the way back up. Any dipping of the bar on any exercise is considered a failed lift, by the way, for again people who don't know that. So when you see someone on YouTube and they're showing off comparing themselves to other people, look at, are they actually performing the lift in a way that in any sort of sanctioned competition to where people are actually being compared, their strength is being compared. If they can't lift a weight smoothly without one side dipping, they're not going to be able to be strong enough to do that. But you guys saw there on that. I'll replay that again at the end. That was, again, me getting really tired. That felt heavier than it looked. It looked really clean and easy on camera. It didn't feel that way after about the 6th rep for me. I thought I was going to hit muscle failure, but I ground out a couple more. All right. Up here, Brittany hits the pins. And this is something we're working on, is her getting tight and her being consistent in her bar path. Oh, she didn't hit the pins on this one. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to it on the set that she does it on. But the issue she's having is finding that right balance between getting far enough under the bar to where you don't hit the J-hook so easy, and combining it with, well, you guys know, not losing tightness. So she struggles with that, and that's something that's going to take time for her to learn. And here I just did a quick 5x5 on Pendlay rows, which again, easy after doing my push presses. I mean, Pendlay rows aren't that hard for me at least, and I do a ton of back work. So a quick 5x5 on the Pendlay rows, which again are a good accessory exercise for me. I think they're a great accessory overall for my clean and press, and they're a great accessory for the deadlift, which is the real reason I do them, for the carryover to the deadlift. As again, I don't deadlift with a lot of volume these days, but there she goes. She hit the pins, and obviously that was a problem. No clamps on the bar. You guys saw that little mishap. So we worked on that. I had to coach her. She dropped the weight a little bit so that she could stay tighter in her bar path. And because here's what happens when you hit the uprights at all, you lose strength. You lose a lot of power. Your strength is gone for future sets when that happens. So just a heads up, a little bit of a mishap there, finding that balance between being able to stay tight by finding how far you need to get under the bar so that you don't have to move it very far after you unrack it and lose that tightness with your scapula pulled together, versus not hitting those uprights, because hitting those, either one of those is a bad situation. You don't want to lose tightness and you don't want to hit the uprights. Now here she did a little better, so we're working on this more, and she hit those and she was a little upset about it. So again, I walked her through it, we talked about it, and notice she's staying tighter now. Notice that you're not having the up and down of the bar on one side tilting more than the other, you know, again. So we're finding that right balance for her, and that's stuff that it just takes time for people to learn. It just takes time for people to learn. It just is what it is. And me, more Pendlay rows, good old boring exercises. And a lot of people are like, Jason, you don't do that many different exercises. No, I don't. I don't believe it's necessary to do a large number of exercises. And I really don't. I do 3 variations of the deadlift. I do conventional, I do deficits, and sometimes I do trap bar. I do low handle trap bar. I do not do high handle trap bar. I'm not interested in doing a bunch of partial reps. You know, I do 3 different types of overhead press on occasion. You guys see me do Pendlay rows, and I do chin-ups. That's about it. That's about it, and that's all I really need. I have just enough variety to get the muscle balance I need to avoid injury and have all-around general strength. And that's all you need. Now for Brittany, we've gone back to doing lat pull downs. People will say, why? Well, because of her artistic work. She does hair, makeup, special effects, has a couple different endeavors going with that. She tends to have a lot of shoulder issues. She tends to be very anterior dominant. So you notice we do everything really narrow grip for her because she's had a lot of problems with her shoulders, and we're having to do a lot more volume for her upper back right now. Before we send her back to doing Pendlay rows again, we're rebuilding the strength in all of her upper back. We're rebuilding her rear delts and all of that because, again, she was starting to become interior dominant again from all of the pressing. And so we're working on correcting that for her to, again, just deal with muscle imbalances due to her job, you know, career choice and everything else. So yeah, a lot of lat pull downs. We're doing 3 sets of 10 every single workout. And so that means as often as 3 or 4 times a week, in addition to other pulling. Sometimes we do some face pulls, we do some other stuff. So that's pretty much what I have her doing. Doing a lot of those. And we have other workouts that we don't film because we train at several gyms, and this is the only gym we really film at. But other gyms, we don't necessarily film at those, where we do a lot of our shorter workouts where we just come in and get some accessory stuff done, or at least one primary lift. I obviously don't deadlift in those gyms. And here you go, one last time before I let you guys go. Here's me with my really difficult set. And I know you guys are like, it's 155. You only did 8 reps. Yeah, I know. But I did 3 sets of my push presses first. And I'm cutting. So honestly, my strength stamina just takes a nosedive on some of my upper body lifts, particularly anything pressing, which is pretty normal when you're losing weight. It's pretty normal, but I'm definitely feeling it again after doing those push presses. These were insanely difficult, and this is normally a weight I could probably crank out 12 or 13 reps pretty easy, but not today. So I will talk to you guys next time.